to another episode of The Man Space. Kunle and I are deeply honored and deeply grounded in our opportunity to have conversations with different gentlemen from different parts of the world to truly shape a safe place and a space where men can gather, men can talk, and men can share feelings, emotions, the need to develop emotional intelligence, and most of all, ask for help and talk about what help looks like. In a world where men are not given that opportunity, where men are asked to just suck it up and perform, it is so important that we make the space and place so that it becomes the wellspring for everything that trickles down from there. And it's important for both men and women to come together as allies to change the trajectory, because the human race comprises of equal parts of men and women. And it is only together we can go further and be successful. Take it away, Kunle.
Thank you so much, Dr. Katz. It's such a wonderful thing that we are going to have a wonderful conversation with someone who has joined us right on this episode of The Man's Space. Is none other but a brother of mine who we've known each other for over 2 decades, and he has been helping a lot of people doing his thing, and the feedback he gets from what he has done are, volumes too many for a brief text or a brief speech. He is a power coach, he is a peak performance coach, and he's also an emotional intelligence coach. As a matter of fact, we will be discussing emotional intelligence for men on today's edition of The Man's Space. All the way from Canada, we've got Alex A Adefemi, also known as Coach Triple A, on today's edition. Coach Triple A, good to have you.
It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be here, brother. Thank you so much. I want to say a big thank you to Dr. Cass. Dr. Cass, thank you for having me. Like I said earlier, you look beautiful. In case you're listening and you can't see Dr. Cass, she looks fantastic. Trust me. And then Kunle Pelemo, brother, you look good, man. You look good. I mean, I'm loving that hat. I'm loving everything in combination. You look good. Thanks. Thank you so much for having me. I hope we're going to have a great conversation here today.
Beautiful. So as we get started, Coach AAA, talk to us a little bit about why it's important for men and women to have emotional intelligence capabilities, but especially men in a society where they are asked not to feel or talk about feelings. Why is it important, and how men listening to this program and women listening who are raising sons, who have husbands and brothers in their lives, how can we take that and start living it?
So I'll start off by saying what is emotional intelligence. I think to a large extent, I want to break it down to the barest understanding that it possibly can be, and anyone who listens can make sense of it, right? I don't want to give you jargons. I give you all those professional terminologies and all that stuff. Now, emotional intelligence is 2 words: emotions and intelligence, right? Now, what it simply means is being intelligent about emotions. Simple, right? So in other words, intelligence, that word means knowledge, being knowledgeable about emotions. So what you know what they say, knowledge is what? Power. So when you have knowledge, you have power. So you have emotional power if you have emotional intelligence. Basically, you know how to navigate around your emotions and the emotions of others. And it's very essential because we're living in a time where I think, certainly for men, and you and I were having this conversation earlier, about the fact that you find out that men, where we are now, we were raised to operate in the time of before and not now. There was a time when what made people valuable, a man valuable in society, is his physical strength. Now, that was when we had to go to the farm, we had to go hunting, we had to go gathering. physical strength was needed, and the women a lot of times had to be back home raising the kids, covering, taking care of the home, to handling domestic issues. And then, even when the times of war came, it was the men that had to go to fight the war. But with time, things changed. But unfortunately, the information that was given to men around handling their society and handling their women wasn't updated. So because the information wasn't updated, we kept operating with the same syllabus of the times of the, what you might call the industrial age. And now we live in an information age where information moves at the speed of thought. Literally, what's the idea of social media? Social media writes to you and tells you that tell us about tell us what you're thinking, what's on your mind. Social media says that what's on your mind. That's pretty literally information at the speed of thought. That's information at the speed of thought. So you want to make sure that you are operating at the time where information is flowing, and then the information now, the way things work now, is that women have now, there's now a level playing field. So in this level playing field now, men and women are now judged based on their level and the quality of their information, no more on the level and the quality of their physical ability. So it's now level playing field. Now women are now asking and saying, since we are now, we're judged based on information, and information is, it's the quality of information that you have. It's not about how strong you are anymore. It's the quality of information that you have. So shouldn't we then have equality? And that is good at the level of what's it called, your career, the politics, and society. But then when you bring it down to the deeper, into the level of the home, relationships, it's now become an issue. A lot of men were not prepared, were not trained, were not groomed to understand that, okay, the women that you are going to have are women that are more, this is now a time of information. And so they are more informed women. They can bring something to the table. They have careers, they work, all those things that made you the superior, in quote, is gone. And you now need to be able to operate as equal with these women. That's where the problem started, and that's where the problem still is till now. Men do not understand how to be able to handle and relate at that level and be able to bring that equality and be able to manage and lead. Because if not for, all we know is to lead with that same instinct of, I am the man, therefore I am in charge, therefore listen to me, therefore you must do what I tell you to do. And that's where the problem is. So men now need to learn, and women are asking, you need to be more intelligent, you need to be more understanding emotionally. But how can he when he wasn't taught? Just like what we're saying, you take a person who you never taught how to swim. In fact, you told him he didn't need to know how to swim. You literally told him, his mother told him he didn't need to know how to swim. He's a man. And then you take him and toss him into the sea, not even the swimming pool, because women's emotions are not swimming pools, they can be seas. And you toss them into the sea, and you literally not tell him, you know what, swim. That's why many of them are drowning. Literally. So I think it's very, very important that we are able to, men are able to understand how emotions work and develop their emotional intelligence. Yeah.
Wow, that was powerful. And I'm going to pick it up from where you stopped, where you spoke about the fact that men now need to take responsibilities of their emotional intelligence, because that is one of the ways where we can live together and create a formidable relationship with other men and women as well. Now, I want you to talk to us now, majorly men who are watching this now. What are those things they need to do in order to, let me use the word, sharpen their emotional intelligence? Let's pick it up from there, Coach Tripoli.
Okay, so how do men need to sharpen their emotional intelligence? First of all, I'm glad that we're able to sort out the issue of why men need to be more emotionally intelligent now. Because if you don't, your families will crash. And society begins with the family. And if men don't know how to lead in this time, it's causing a lot of family fractures. And those family fractures are leading to societal fractures, and leading to national fractures, and leading to continental fractures, and leading to global fractures. That's the way it works. Now, everything rises and falls on leadership. I'll say that again. Everything rises and falls on leadership, because leadership is what leads the way to the future. No, so if the man is meant to be the leader, and the man is the leader, because if you look at it, most women do look up to their men to take the lead. So the man, whether it's, and it has nothing to do with finances, we make that mistake and think it's all about, how much money you have in your account or your pocket. That it has nothing to do with finances. It's simply about being able to lead spiritually. The spiritual leadership that's important. There is emotional leadership. What we're talking about right now is important. There is creating an identity, a vision, a system for your family, in which your family connects with and sees themselves as that this is who we are. That is the responsibility of the man. And if you're not doing that, and it's not the sole responsibility of the man, but I'm saying it's the responsibility of the man to take the lead in these. And then he works alongside with his woman to achieve that for the family. But he must take the lead. He must be able to say, okay, this is what I'm thinking, and sit down with his wife, and they thrash it out together, and then they spread it down to their kids, and also discuss with their children and share it with them. And everybody has a buy-in into it, and then it takes them further in life. Now, what are the things that you need to do? Number one, the emotional intelligence is in, I would use the Daniel Goleman approach to it. Now, he explained that emotional intelligence is in 4 phases. The first phase is self-awareness. Second phase is self-management. Third phase is social awareness. And the fourth phase, I call it social influence. So what that means is, first phase is one of the most important skill that you can have. The most vital, important skill that you can have, you want to develop emotional intelligence, is awareness. You must develop awareness. Now, for men, like I said, we haven't necessarily been trained or been prepared or groomed, conditioned to be able to be aware of our emotions, aware of the emotions of others. But our beautiful, wonderful females tend to be masters of this particular skill. I'm watching something with my wife, and she goes, I didn't even like her hair. And I'm like, well, what hair? I go, oh, okay, that hair. I didn't even see it. Because honestly, I didn't see it. And she sees the hair, she sees something on the neck, something here. And in my mind, initially I used to think, what is my business with the lapel of her? What is my business with that? What she's saying is one more important to me. But women are very observant. They tend to be more observant than men. I'm not saying all women are, but a lot of women tend to be more observant than a lot of men, right? So you find that is and if that is the first skill of emotional intelligence, you see why it seems that women are said to be more emotionally intelligent than men? Because the first skill they naturally seem to have. Even though sometimes women can, let me throw a dig at women, just throw a little dig. Even though women sometimes can, maybe be a little bit too observant. But other than that, that skill is very vital. And you must learn observance and be observant and aware. First of all, be aware of yourself. How do you feel right now? As you're listening to us right now, how do you feel? Are you excited? Are you happy? Are you introspective? Are you insightful at this time? What's the feeling that's going on in your mind as we speak? Are you analytic right now? That what I'm asking you to do is be aware. Be aware of your current emotions. That's where it starts from. So sometimes you wake up in the morning and you're going to work. You realize all of a sudden that somebody, maybe, I don't know if you live in a place like Lagos or you live in downtown Toronto, right? And then traffic can be crazy in these places, right? So, and then someone can just do something. Especially if you live in Lagos, someone can just wind their car down and just curse at you, literally. And you be like, "What? You were the one who's wrong," and you were upset because the guy was the one who was wrong, and he's still cursing at you, and he's so annoying. And then you move on, not knowing that because you did not pay attention to that emotion and just trash that emotion out, that emotion stays niggling in your subconscious mind. That annoyance. And then you get to work. And then after a few hours, you still realize that you're just irritated by every small thing. And you don't know why you're irritated. Why? Because you did not pay attention to that emotion initially when it happened and it triggered you. And if it's not dealt with, a lot of times what it goes is it recedes and sits in the background and begins to release more of the chemicals and the hormones that just puts you on a particular mood all day. So you need to be aware of your emotions per time so that you can nip them in the bud. That's one. Number two, you need to manage yourself, which is then being them self-management, which is then you need to then manage yourself. So when you're aware of that emotion, you can then manage it and say, okay, no, he's just a silly human being. Let him go, forget about it. Once you do that to yourself, you are managing your emotions. And then when you're dealing with others, you cannot manage their emotions for them. It's not your job. You can't. It's not your emotions. So first thing you must do, you must be aware of their emotions. But then you need to find ways to influence. You can't manage it. You can influence their emotions to be better. So, but if we're going to be talking about that, we're going to be going to a whole masterclass on emotional intelligence. So I don't want to go there. And I will stay there for now. There's 5 other things I will share with you on how to be able to, what other skills that you need or qualities that you need for you to be able to have emotional intelligence. But these are the 4 phases of emotional intelligence that you must know.
Brilliantly said. Thank you so much, Coach Triple A. And awareness, self-awareness is where it all starts, right?
Yes.
And what self-awareness does is allows you to get to know you and then allow you to build a relationship with yourself. Because if we each don't have a relationship with ourselves, we don't know who we are. Yeah. Therefore, we don't have a starting point to build a relationship with somebody else.
Yes.
And awareness is so critical for communication, because communication drives connection, connections builds relationships for collaboration, and collaboration brings success, right? So everything is hinging on this awareness.
Yes.
And a lot of times men are taught, and this is generational, and their mothers are teaching them, so women are teaching them, that men don't need to be aware, men just need to go perform. It's your physical strength and your output that matters, not how you show up. And so how does a man overcome that in the adulthood, right? Yes. And keeping in mind, he's in a relationship, in a marriage, in a home with a woman who truly wants to feel feminine. And the only way she is going to feel feminine if the man shows up in his masculinity relevant to today's world. A lot of times people say she's so masculine. It's because the man in her life is not showing up in the masculine energy.
And I like that. I think the first thing men need to understand when it comes to performance is that emotions drive people. People drive performance. Say that again. Emotions drive people. People drive performance. So, in other words, there is no way you can perform to your optimum if you're not in charge and in control and intelligent about your emotions. There is no way, absolutely no way. Emotions are powerful. In fact, let me say this here, let me be clear. Emotions are the most powerful resource in a human body. That's how powerful it is. This is what I mean. You see, when emotions come into the picture. Emotions eat logic for breakfast. Because a person at the height of his emotions, logic leaves the room. Whether a person is completely like, at the height of anger, logic has left the building. When a person is at the height of sadness, logic has left the building. That's why people can get depressed and commit suicide. Why? Because logic has left the building. So you cannot take for granted or underestimate the power of emotions. That's very, very essential. Now, having said that, a lot of times, and it's now a skill that if you are going to lead, and I don't just mean leaders as at home, in any situation, at work, in the society, in the government, wherever level of leadership that you're going to operate in, if you are going to lead, you need a good dose of emotional intelligence. If not, you will cause catastrophe and create traumatizing situations for the lives of many. So it's not a nice to have, it is a must have. Now, the reason why a lot of women are saying that they haven't to show up and because the men are not showing up the masculinity is because of lack of understanding. A lot of men don't realize. So initially they were raised to be, macho men. Be a man. Don't bother about all this stuff. Just do what men need to do. But then the demand that the women and the times are now asking of them by the time they became men, those demands are now saying, we need you to be more sensitive. We need you to be more understanding. We need you to be more intelligent to how we feel. And you're saying, I thought that was not the syllabus I was given. The syllabus I was given was to just provide, do all this stuff. And once I do that, it's fine. I'm cool. I'm a man. But now the syllabus has changed and it's saying, no, that's not what makes you a man alone. So there is a lack of balance. And that's where the challenge is in the world, the lack of balance. The world is not balanced in what it's demanding of the men, and the men are not balanced enough to be able to deliver a balanced version of them of manhood for this time. So there is need for that masculinity. But if you go by the way it is being poured out about this emotional sensitivity, it just makes a man feel very soft. It makes a man feel less of a man. You begin to feel your masculinity is toxic. Or there's terms of toxic masculinity. I don't believe in that. I believe that yes, a man is a man. You should be a man. And what makes you a man is not just how much you provide, it's the quality of leadership that you provide. A leadership that is influential and improves the life of others and brings people along with you. There are people who are coerced to follow, and there are those who willingly follow. That kind of leadership that makes people willingly follow is what you call good quality manly leadership. And a lot of men need to understand how to be able to do this. And in doing this, I feel I'm going to share those 5 qualities now. Number 1 is self-awareness. We already talked about that. Self-awareness is key. 2, self-management is also key. We already talked about that. Another thing is you also need to understand the art of motivation. How to motivate yourself and motivate others. It's a quality that you must have that shows you have emotional intelligence, because motivation has to do with emotions. Getting to find what drives people and then talk to them and operate with them at the level of what drives them so they can perform better and they can deliver better and they can succeed higher. Then the next thing is you need to develop empathy. You cannot overemphasize this. You find out in the world these days that people are not showing enough empathy. And then in trying to show empathy, they don't even understand what empathy really is. So is this sympathy? No. Sympathy is feeling sorry for someone. Empathy is putting yourself in someone else's shoes and knowing and trying to experience what they're going through. You know the popular saying, walk in an Indian's moccasins for a mile before you pass judgment? That's what empathy is. So if we try and put ourselves, you can't exactly put yourself in anybody's shoes 100% because you're not them. But if you try, a little bit more understanding of how they are, you will realize that the world will be a much better place. Why? Because we will be more understanding and be less selfish. And then number 5 is what we also mentioned, relationship management. You need to be able to learn to manage your relationships effectively. Those are 5 things I think, that 5 qualities that I think any man must go and study and research about and see, how do I develop self-awareness emotionally? How do I develop self-management emotionally? How do I develop motivation, the art of motivation, motivate myself and motivate others? And that's influence, right? And then how do I develop empathy so I can understand people better? And then how do I develop relationship management? Those are the 5 things I think you need to develop.
Wow, that was powerful, Coach Triple A. That was powerful.
Thank you.
I
Thank you, sir.
mean, this is something that will not only build the men, but the women all together that you have just shared with us. Talk about self-awareness, talk about empathy. And these are like the building blocks for every society as we are trying to build, the world that we desire or the society that we desire. These are ingredients that will be necessary, in that envisioned society of ours.
Yeah.
As we begin to wrap up, I will want you to speak to all the men out there because it's very important. I mean, I do that sometimes when I have the opportunity, when you look into the camera and say something profound to the people who are listening, because I know a lot of people will watch this and they want to watch it over and over again. So I want you to speak to them how much this means to you, and you are going to use that energy to really relate to our men. For them to understand the fact that their feelings are valid, being vulnerable about their emotions, they're also valid, being empathetic, because most men feel like it's when you put out that strong masculine phase. I mean, that's what makes things work. And the world, I mean, these days, just like you mentioned, has shown that this is no longer in place. I want you to speak to every man listening out there now that, yeah, sometimes it is not weak to show their emotions. It is not weak to speak. It is valid to show their vulnerability to everyone, including their female counterparts, which AAA.
Okay, so I will use the quote by John Hancock when he said, "The greatest ability in business is to get along with others and to influence their actions." The greatest ability in business is to get along with others and to influence their actions. And I use that quote because I know we men, we like to talk about business, we like to talk about work, one, two, three things we like to talk about. But even at that level of operation, you cannot succeed if you don't learn to get along with others and how to influence them. So that's the first thing you need to understand. And you did mention that, and it's true. We men need to also understand that it is okay to express our emotions. I personally believe that women are emotionally stronger than men. I personally believe so, that women are emotionally stronger than men. What do I mean by that? They tend to, because women are more expressive about their emotions, they tend to be able to withstand emotional tough situations better than we men. That means that bottling our emotions is not the solution. However, I also understand the perspective as a man. You don't want to just be ranting and complaining about your every emotion, every feeling, every time. Even the women will get tired of you, be like, what the heck? Like, you'd be a man. And you don't want them. What do you want? Do you want me to express myself or not? What? So I think there's a good balance to it. But I think men can be able to find ways to be able to express themselves. Take, for instance, in not too distant future, we've not finalized our date for it, but we're going to be holding a men's event here in Canada, and it's going to be about helping men to be able to connect and talk and share. A place where we can be guys and just talk as men. It's very, very important. Even I will give you another classic example. My wife, for instance, she has this girls group where they always go and hang out, have a good time. So we men, we their husbands got jealous and decided to come up with our men's group. Trust me, we've not had one hangout, not one. They've had like 10. We've not had one. They keep laughing at us and making fun of us that you guys came up, you guys never come up one event. Like, yeah, we'll make it. We'll be bigger than you know. We'll be better than Ours will be better. I'll be bigger. Let's do it one. We've not even done one. So you see how we men can be at times. But it's very important that we start making efforts in those directions. We're not perfect. We're not going to get it right 100%. But you start making efforts. Find a gang of boys that have similar values as yours, that are pursuing the kind of things that you're pursuing, and hang out. Hang out with them. Reach out, connect, relate. It's very, very important that you start expressing, and you guys can trust, talk, share. You don't have to share everything too deep, but just share a little bit among boys. And that is very, very important. It will help you in massive ways, because once you keep bottling stuff up, that's when you begin to literally kill yourself from within. And it's very, very essential. So apart from the things that we've mentioned, self-management and all that stuff, it's important that we start learning to, even if and start sharing a little bit, find times to talk to your woman and say, this thing makes me feel this way. This is how I feel about certain things. And a little bit of sharing is not bad. She wants you to share. Too much sharing, I'm not sure. We have to ask the women about that if they want us to share too much. But a little bit of sharing is all right. It makes them feel okay. You're speaking to me, you're connecting with me, you're opening up to me, and they like that. But I'm not sure they want you to just go, oh my God, darling, I just feel so sad. They too much of that, they might be like, okay, it's a bit too much, but it's nothing. There's nothing wrong in crying. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that, just balance it out. Just, share a little bit with them. Let them see your heart and just stop. Don't think bottling everything up is what makes you masculine or make you a man. It's what is killing you inside and making you a worse leader than before. So I think that's pretty much what I would say. Do you want me to give my last words, or how do we do it?
Go ahead and tell us how we can get a hold of you.
Oh, fantastic. So I will say that you can reach me, easiest ways to reach me. Right now, our website is in construction. So but I will give it to you. It's at www.alexadefemi.com, www.alexadefemi.com. But you can reach me easier right now on social media at Instagram. You please follow me. I'm looking for more followers. Come and follow me. Please follow me. I'm looking for more followers. So at Coach Triple A, that's triple with a single P, Coach Triple A on Instagram, on X, which is no more Twitter, it's an X, on Facebook as well. You can find me there. On LinkedIn, you can find me at Alex Adefemi. Alex Adefemi. And those are the fastest way you can reach me. And then you can send me an email at coachtriplea@gmail.com. coachtriplea@gmail.com. Reach out to me if you have any questions. If you know anything else you want to discuss with me, I'm willing to learn and also have that exchange with you. So pretty much that's how you can reach me.
Beautiful. Thank you so very much, Coach AAA. This has been an amazing conversation. Time flew by. We went over time, but that's okay. And thank you for sharing your wisdom. And to our audience out there, you heard Coach AAA talk about the importance of awareness, the importance of emotional intelligence to evolve and become relevant with our times. We are not living in the days of hunter-gatherer. We're living in an information economy driven by AI, with everything happening at the speed of thought, as Coach AAA said, right? So get with the times, reach out and get the support, and build a life that is truly meaningful for you so that you can show up for you and those around you can lean in and count on you so that you can be the leader you were meant to be. Because trust me, us ladies want a man to lead in our families. We are looking for a man who can have the sensitivity and lead. So become that man, and everybody's life is going to get better. And if you need help, you know where to get a hold of Coach AAA.
Yeah. And men, the syllabus has changed though. You guys need to move up, upskill, man. Upskill. It's important.